Hi everybody, all my followers, everybody on YouTube, welcome to another video. This video today, I had this car. I will leave the link in the description below for the other video. It was not a very good video because I fixed the problem and then I've just explained you what the problem was, how I detect the problem, and how to fix it. So I didn't really took you through of the repair process, let's say, on that video. But I got a phone call yesterday saying the car was doing the same thing again, and I thought, that's weird. And that's sometimes what happens when people are not very clue on cars. So the car apparently is going onto limp mode again, but it's not the same problem. So if you want to watch the other video first, so you understand what the initial problem was with the car, and I will take you now through what the problem is now, which is a completely different problem. So this is a 2006 Volvo S40 with the 1.6 turbo diesel engine, and at the moment there's no lights, no nothing. The guy says that when the problem happens, he says sometimes the engine just gets out while running, sometimes goes in limp mode, and it just goes on limp mode. That's it. So I'm going to show you the codes that we have, and that's the codes. So the first code, ignore the first code, we'll have nothing to do with that, is the other two codes, which they are kind of self-explanatory. So obviously, if you are losing pressure on the common rail system, on injectors, obviously the car will trigger a fault, will go in limp mode, or it will cut out completely because the pressure inside the rail is not enough to keep the engine running. According to the freeze frame on here, when this happened, the engine was at 2,500 RPMs and the fuel pressure was 906,228 HPA. So basically it's about 906 bars. Okay, I don't think we'll be too far from where it should be, but let's just so we can see how far that would be. Obviously that will also depends if the engine is under load or not. But if I select engine RPMs and fuel pressure sensor, if I put the engine at 2,500 RPMs, as you can see, we are on about 500 bars, but we are now under load. Obviously, if the engine is under load, things are slightly different. It's going to possibly require more pressure. On that one, let's gonna go back on that one just to have a better look, just to see what the engine load was on that one. The engine load actually was not even load. That was accelerator, so that the pedal was off the accelerator at that time. Let's gonna have a look at the other one. Engine load -18 once again, but that the pedal was on the accelerator at that point. Boost pressure, engine 2,000 RPMs. But look at that one, 2,000 RPMs, 145 bars pretty much. That is not even enough to start the engine. You need about 250 bars around just to start the engine, and as the engine is running, like idling like is now, you should have around 300 bars of pressure. Let's kind of have a look. So 264 bars at the moment, so it's about 250. Some engines they go to about 300. It depends on the cars, but yeah, so 145 bars. That code makes much more sense. Now, Now I've been here with the engine idling, revving the engine, look at the live data. I mean, like it seems that the pressure is just fine. Nevertheless, I'm gonna go for a drive. I'm gonna monitor the live data. I'm gonna see if I can replicate the problem, see exactly what happens. But there's one thing we're here while we're idling that I want to show you. I don't know if it's gonna come across okay on the camera, but we're gonna do it anyway. When I accelerate, when the car gets to about 3,500 RPMs, it kind of hesitates a little bit past that RPMs. I'm gonna show you that. Oh, it's not doing it now. It's not doing it now. Funny. Right, what I was doing basically was when I would do this, full throttle, right? What I'm doing is just putting full throttle. What I was doing was, straight after the 3000, would hesitate like for a split of a second, 2 or 3 times, and then would go. But he's not doing it now for some reason. Well, he's not doing it now. He's not doing it now. So before I go to any more complicated route like high pressure pump, injectors, sensors, the pressure regulator, whatever, the first thing I'm going to do is check the fuel filter. Partially blocked or a blocked filter can obviously restrict the fuel flow to the high pressure pump, and that can cause obviously the pressure to drop inside the common rail and causing faults like this. So it's the first thing I'm going to do. Straight and simple. That's going to check the fuel filter. I don't know how I'm going to record. I'm not going to record how to change the fuel filter. I'm not going to record anything outside the car today because, as you can see, it's pouring outside. But I'll manage. I'll find a way to replace the filter. That's going to be our first approach. See if that if the filter is dirty, and if that helps out. If not, then we'll have to have a look at injectors first, possibly see if there's any back leak. Do a leak test on the injector, see if any injector is leaking too much. That would every now and then would allow too much diesel to flow back, and that would in turn will drop the pressure inside the rail, or if we have any other fault somewhere. So, but yeah, simple things first. Let's go and check the filter and we'll go from there. Okay, so just come back from a test drive and I went to buy a new filter. I had to clear the codes for the car to come off limp mode, but still I couldn't replicate the problem really. But even after the codes clear, the car is the full power is not there. It's like there's something weird. Don't know. I'm gonna change the filter. I have a feeling that's gonna be the filter. And before you guys start to put comments across like that, like I should have tested fuel pressure, I could put a gauge in the fuel line and all that. Yes, I could, but although it stopped raining now, the weather is not very good for me to do that, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm afraid. I'm just gonna replace the filter and see how it goes. Okay, so we just had the fuel filter replaced, as you can see, and just put the cover back on, and we'll go for a test drive. Prime the system and go for a test drive. Okay, so where are we? So new filter, came for a drive again. I must say the car is driving slightly better. I can see an improvement. The car develops better. It might just be in my head, but it looks like the car is performing better. I came for a drive, and unfortunately, guys, I didn't record this before, so I can't tell if there is any difference. All I can tell you is the pressure builds really quick. As you can see, every time I put the foot down, the pressure builds to about 1200 bars, 1500, 1600 there, 1500 there. So the pressure builds quite quick. So it's not like if the fuel is not there. I believe if it was lack of fuel, one of the two, or these will build slower because the fuel was not there, or we would have hesitations on a ramp, little cuts or something like that. I don't know if it was doing that before. Now this car doesn't have a fuel pump in the tank, so the fuel is pulled to the high pressure pump through vacuum. So if the filter clogs a little bit, you know, when you have a fuel pump in the tank, obviously that will help the diesel to go through the filter. So even if the filter is a little bit clogged, there is more chance that the fuel will go through because of the pressure coming from the tank. When it's only vacuum, things are slightly different. So it might be that was a dirty fuel filter. I can't see on the filter when it was last changed. There's no numbers there really there's no year of manufacture or anything like that, so I don't really know when it was changed. The guy that bought the car, he doesn't know as well. So I think, so yeah, I came for a drive, like someone said the other day, on one of my, well, actually on the same video, I believe. Not on the same video, on the video I've done for this car. He said that I drove the car like if I stole it. And yes, I did. When I come to test the cars, right here at the back in between these fields, there's very little traffic. There's really good stretch. The traffic is minimal. You can see on a stretch, you can see if there's any car coming on the other way. So you can pull the car a little bit. You can drive a little bit to test. So that's what I came to do. I mean, the car is driving absolutely perfect now. Last time I drove, when I came for a drive test, like I said already, I couldn't replicate the problem. I couldn't put the car in limp mode. But I must confess, the car was not, was not pulling the way it is now. It was not. I mean, you'd put the foot down, the car would go, but it was like if it would go like someone. It was like if the car was being pulled by something. It was dragging a little bit. I don't know, it was a little bit weird, but the car, it seems to me that it's full power now, is running just fine. So I would say it was a dirty fuel filter, and yes, if the car comes back, obviously I will not post this video until I'm 100% sure that this was the fault. If the car comes back, I will just carry on recording from here. So for now, I would say this is the fix, a dirty fuel filter. So if you have this problem, if you have these codes, start by the basics. Fuel filter first, especially if it's been changed some time ago. It's always worth to change it. It's a quite expensive filter, it's about 35 quid, but it's the easy fix for now. So that's it, guys. For now, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope there's some information on the video that you're gonna find useful. Hopefully it will help someone out there. And like always, thank you so much for watching.